In this video, we're going to break down one of Marvel Crisis Protocol's newest leaders. It is, of course, King T'Challa, leader of the Wakandans. Hey guys, Rich from Rich Big Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well. Welcome to this another Marvel Crisis Protocol video, and happy Friday, and welcome to another one of our affiliation stroke leadership breakdowns. And we are, of course, as I've just mentioned, and by the title of this video you'll probably know already, but taking a look at one of the brand new leaders of Wakanda, King T'Challa, the 5-threat version of the Black Panther. He comes alongside Killmonger, another leader, the Killmonger usurper I think he's called, in that Warrior Falls box. Now there's been a little bit of contentious things said about the terrain that comes in that box, but we're not going to cover that off here. First of all, we'll take a look at King T'Challa himself, and sort of do a real close look in on that strength of the ancestors. I then want to take a look at one tactics card in particular that I think really unlocks a lot of potential for the Wakandans and indeed anybody else that they are bringing along. And then we're going to take a look at each other member of the Wakandan affiliation and rank them underneath King T'Challa. So that's going to be the way the video is going to go. And then I've got a couple of extra little things I want to talk about at the end. Some honourable mentions to some other characters who I think you could consider taking along with King T'Challa in the Wakandans. And they're going to add you, they're going to be some really nice splash characters and really feed into that strength of the ancestors' leadership. So without further ado, let's jump over and let's first of all take a look at King T'Challa himself. So King T'Challa, aka T'Challa, he's 4s across the board. He has 7 stamina on his front. As I mentioned, he is a 5-threat character. He's bringing along, he is a size 2. It comes on a small base, but he does have that long move. So he did retain that long move from his 4-threat counterpart. Let's take a quick look then at his 2 attacks. First of all, his builder is going to be Vibranium Spear, range 3, obviously cost 0, strength 6, and it's going to be power equal to damage dealt. A 6 strength range 3 builder on a 5-threat character is very, very nice indeed. If the target character is within range 2 of this character may reroll up to 2 of its attack dice. If it is not, after the attack is resolved, the target character, if the target character is size 3 or less, push the target character towards this character short. And you'll see how that can play into the leadership that he brings along. Reminds me very, very much of Magneto's reverse polarity. Now it is a push towards, so it's not omnidirectional, so you can't use it really for displacement. Unless you're really close up to them and you're pulling them away from a point. But the idea of this is your first attack, you can pull them in and then follow it up with either another Vibranium Spear getting those rerolls, or using his second attack, which is going to be Panther's Fury. This is going to be range 2, it's going to be strength 8, it's going to cost 4 power, but on a wild, it is going to have a throw. After this attack is resolved, the target character, or if the target character is size 3 or less, you may throw it medium, and then you automatically get a medium advance off the back of the attack as well. So it's pretty nice, the fact that you can do that medium advance before you throw, because they're both after the attack, so you get to choose. So you can get yourself into a better position and then perform the throw. Again, whether you want to throw them into another enemy or you want to throw them off a point or something like that, just gives you quite a bit of flexibility there. Okay then, so let's take a look then at the leadership that King T'Challa brings with him. It is strength of the ancestors, obviously affiliation Wakanda. Once per turn, when an allied character pushes an enemy character, if that character contacts a terrain feature during the push, it suffers 1 damage. How do I feel about this leadership? It is very, very situational. Very, very situational indeed. There are some affiliations that you come up against and it is not very good at all. So you look at the likes of Winter Guard, who have, sort of inbuilt stop being pushed, which is quite good. And it is only once per turn, so you are only doing an extra 1 damage per turn, but that can often be the difference between dazing and not dazing a character. Whilst I think it's perfectly okay, that little bit of chip damage, it's not setting the world on fire. It's almost like a nice little extra that you get, but it is still going to be something that we take into consideration when we're looking at the characters and how well they work with King T'Challa himself. He then has something called Bound, so a active ability. It's going to cost 3, place his character within range 2, and then the next Vibranium Spear attack it makes, this activation, that is important, you get to add 2 dice to the attack roll. So it costs 3 power, you get to place him 2. Typically a range 2 place is going to cost 2 power, so then you're paying the extra 1 power to be able to get 2 dice on that Vibranium Spear, which, because that's range 3, is really nice. It can often be the difference of getting in there and being able to make 2 attacks rather than 1 attack. And again, it's giving you 2 extra chances, potentially 4 with crits, to be able to actually regenerate that power back. So it's really, really good action economy, and it actually gives you a way of being able to recuperate that power that you have gained, or that you've spent even. Royal Rebuke costs 2. Basically, we've seen it many, many different versions of this, but after an attack is complete, if they're within 3, he can spend 2 power, roll 4 dice. For each crit and wild rolled, the attacking character suffers 1 damage. Can be a really, really nice way of not necessarily taking out an enemy that is on low health, but it almost acts as a bit of a deterrent for your opponent to actually attack T'Challa if they are on low health, and there is that risk of them being clapped back with a couple of successes. So one to watch out for. And then one that I really like is Defender of Wakanda. When another allied character is dealt damage by an enemy effect, this character gains 1 power. So this is like the souped up version of what Ghost Rider has. It's really, really good. It means that T'Challa is never really in any danger of not having enough power to do the things that he wants to do, which, as you can see, that Panther's Fury at 4 cost, the Bound costing 3, you're probably going to be wanting to do a Bound almost every turn. So yeah, it's really, really nice indeed. Now, normally at this point, guys, I would jump in and I would start to talk about each of the individual characters, but I want to talk about something else for a moment as well, and that is one of the brand new tactics cards that comes for the Wakandans. Now, the Wakandan card that's kind of always been in every single list is obviously Wakanda Forever, the one that allows each of your Wakandans to make an attack. It's stapled to almost every Wakanda list, but I do want to talk for a little moment about the Spirit of Wakanda. So what is this? So it's a Wakandan tactics card. It's an active card. A Wakanda character may spend 2 power to play this card. The character that played this card may immediately use one of the following effects. All other allied characters within range 2 may remove 2 damage from themselves. All other allied characters within range 2 may remove all special conditions for themselves, but the one that we're interested in is all other allied characters within range 2 of this character gain 2 power. Now, there are no characters in Wakanda that generate an extra power turn 1, but we do also have another little card called Advanced R&D. So what can we do here? Well, because this doesn't need to be the active player who plays this card, whereas Advanced R&D does. It's got to be that character's activation. You can activate a character, let's say like a Koye, for example. You can use Advanced R&D. You can give 1 power to any other character who you want, and then, or any other allied character. They can then use that 2 power that they now have, 1 power that they generated themselves plus 1 other, and then they can use that to play Spirit of Wakanda, and they're going to be able to dish out 2 power to every single character within range 2. And if you deploy correctly, that's going to be every single character in your team. And it is important to note, whilst it needs to be a Wakandan character to play this card, it is just allied characters who are going to benefit from it. So that's something else that we are going to take into consideration, because effectively it means your entire team can start on 3 power, and that unlocks a huge amount of things for you. It is advanced R&D on steroids. It is crazy. Everybody starting with 3 power is just so good. So with those in mind, let's jump back over. Let's take a look at the tier list, and we're going to go through and rank every single character under King T'Challa. Now, just to remind everybody, we're going to do S through D, the only ranking system that matters. Everybody loves it apart from that one guy. I can't remember who you are, but you know who you are. S tier is going to be absolutely insanely good. They're not only going to be in your squad every single time you play, they are just probably that little bit too good, if we're being perfectly honest. A tier is going to be very solid, probably always making your squad, but maybe there's some niche reasons why you don't take them on particular matchups. B tier is going to be absolutely fine, perfectly serviceable. They're going to be in your roster, and they are the middle of the bell curve, really good, solid character. C tier is just going to be perfectly fine, like nothing wrong with them, but it may be that there are some other options that are out there that don't, or that lend themselves a little bit better, or maybe there's some out of affiliation options that just do the same job slightly better for you as well. And then lastly is going to be D tier, which is really going to be do not touch. These are not characters that I would recommend playing, so yeah, just probably avoid them with a barge pole. Don't touch them with a barge pole even. So with all that said and done, let's start out then with the first character. Now, we have to remember the rules for this are we are going to be playing under T'Challa's leadership. So we're not going to take any other leaderships into consideration. So the likes of M'Baku and Killmonger Usurper. We are just looking at T'Challa's leadership. So that isn't something that we're going to take into consideration. And we also need to point out the fact that there is one character, whilst you could have him in your roster, the only way you could play him is if you weren't using King T'Challa and you weren't using his leadership. So that is, of course, the original Black Panther, which is a real shame because the original Black Panther would actually work really well underneath King T'Challa's leadership. That strike, before damage is dealt, you're going to be able to push the character away short. He's got explosive force on his kinetic burst. King T'Challa, Black Panther, the original T'Challa, is actually is a really good character to put under him. However, they both share the same alias, aka T'Challa. So unfortunately, whilst I think he'd probably be A tier if I'm being brutally honest, whilst I would say that he is probably A tier, unfortunately we can't put him in there. We can't include him in. So it means we move on to the next character, which is going to be Killmonger, aka N'Jadaka, and this is the original 4th Threat Killmonger from way back when. Anyone that knows me, anyone that's seen me play, I really like the original Killmonger. He benefits nothing whatsoever from King T'Challa's leadership. Where he does benefit is under the Spirit of Wakandan card, being able to turn that charge on round 1, or indeed being able to use that Black Ops strike round 1 as well. But realistically, he's a 4th threat character. There's a couple of other 4th threats, both in and indeed outside of affiliation, that I think lend themselves a little bit better to the makeup of these guys now. So whilst I really like him, unfortunately, even though he's got Usurp the Throne, and I do really love that card, whilst I would probably play him because I think he is amazing at murdering things. I am going to put him into C tier because I think there are better options out there, particularly when we're talking about being under King T'Challa's leadership. So yeah, that's going to be the reason for that. Okay, let's then take a look at Killmonger Usurper. So the newer version of Killmonger. This is another 4th threat character. Again, he brings that strength of a new generation leadership, but we're not going to take that into consideration purely because we're playing this under King T'Challa's leadership. Again, he doesn't really have anything that leans in to that T'Challa leadership. But for me, whilst I personally prefer the old Killmonger, he is a really, really good character. Those vibranium weapons are pretty damn good. Covert armament is, really, really nice as well. Being able to have a second builder that generates you 1 power can be really, really good. And then that Killer Lunas, I'm going to apologise for all of the pronunciations, can be absolutely brutal. So add dice to the attack roll equal to the character's current damage, and the target character cannot modify its defense dice during the attack. Again, he doesn't really have anything that lends himself in there, but I wouldn't be surprised to see people taking Killmonger alongside King T'Challa. So for me, he's going to go into B tier. I think he's perfectly fine, perfectly serviceable. Like I said, my personal preference is I prefer the OG Killmonger over the new version, but I actually think the new version is probably that little bit better, and probably works a little bit better with King T'Challa. Okay, let's take a look then at these leaders for Wakanda are coming thick and fast. This is M'Baku. So the 4th, I suppose technically the 2nd leader for Wakanda, but the 4th leader overall. This guy does have some pretty good synergy with King T'Challa. However, he does struggle with the fact that he is only a 2 energy defense. It really, really hurts him. It brings some nice things. So his Knobkerry is going to have a push on there as well, which is really nice. And also, it is an unrestricted push. And what I mean by that is, yes, it pushes them away, but there's no side restriction on there. So I believe the only character in affiliation now who can actually push a size 4 or even 5 character. So bring some really nice things there. He's got a throw, which is always welcome. Chieftain of the Jabari, so he can't be pushed or advanced by special effects of physical or energy attacks from characters of size 3 or less. It's quite specific, but it is in there. And he doesn't suffer damage from collisions with other characters, which again is quite nice. He's also got throws on the Wrath of Jabari. Like I say, he's pretty good. He just is really, really let down by that 2 energy. So for me, whilst he's got some good synergy, that sort of does drag him down a little bit. So I am going to be putting him into B tier, and he's going to go in underneath Killmonger, or Killmonger the Usurper. I still think he's probably a better 4th threat option for you. But why he's not 3 energy is just beyond me. He could really, really have done with that. Okay, so an old favourite in Wakanda, and actually an old favourite across the board. Okoye used to be the 2 threat of choice. And the reason for that was she's a 2 threat with a bodyguard. It's absolutely amazing. You've got a 5 threat character, not a problem. Okoye will take the hit for you. Now, when she had changes to her card, whilst a lot of people, talked about the other things, for me, it was the lack of power generation that she had. She really struggles to generate that 2 power every single turn. But now with the new card from Wakanda, it makes it that little bit easier for her. She can get a little bit of a head start. So she can definitely take a hit turn 1. And it also means that she's probably going to have enough powers to take a hit turn 2 as well. So I think she's really, really good. I think you are going to see her in almost every Wakandan roster, and I think you're probably going to see her in most Wakandan squads. She's not exceptional by any stretch of the imagination, but she does do a very good job at protecting those around her, especially when you've got a character like King T'Challa who wants to get further up the board, or maybe you've got M'Baku and you want him to be able to move a bit further up, but he's only got that 2 energy defense, so she can be there and take the hits for him. So I think you're going to see her in most Wakandan rosters. You're going to see her in most squads, and because of that, she is going to go into A tier. And I think she's solid. She doesn't do anywhere near enough to go up to the S tier level, but you are going to see her in pretty much all rosters that are out there, so or all squads that are out there. So one that is definitely worth taking a look at. Okay, then let's take a look at Okoye's box counterpart. That is going to be Shuri, aka Shuri. For anyone that doesn't know, Shuri was one of the absolute pains in most people's backsides. Before she got her changes, her Panther gauntlets were unrestricted on her push, so she could push any size character. Now it is only size 3, and because of that, she has fallen down the rankings a little bit. And it's fair to say that Wakanda are not the affiliation that they used to be, or weren't the affiliation that they used to be. They have been obviously broadened out a little bit now with 3 new leaders. She's 3s across the board. She's a 3-threat character, so that's really, really nice. Again, Shuri is a character you are going to see in every single squad, or almost every single squad. And there's really 2 reasons for that. Reason number 1 is she has a range 5 size 3 push that is guaranteed on her builder. Now it is restricted to only 1 damage, so you can guarantee that that will be the dice roll that you absolutely spike on, because she can only ever do 1 damage, but you do gain 1 power for it as well. But she also has upgrades. While another allied character within 4 is attacking or defending during the modified dice step of the attack, this character may spend up to 3 power to use his superpower. For each power spent, the allied attacking or defending character may reroll 1 of their attack or defense dice. So really, really good. Some really, really nice rerolls, especially for all those characters that are, excuse me, that are going out there and they're looking to find certain triggers and things like that. So yeah, I think she's really, really good, and she's got great power generation as well, because if you roll a fail in any of your rolls, you're going to generate an extra power, so that Panther gauntlets can generate up to 2 power if you do get a fail in there as well. But as I say, you're not really worried about the number of successes. It's that guaranteed push that it gives. She's really, really good. Again, you're going to see her everywhere. I don't think she is good enough, again, to go into S tier. So while she's going to be in probably almost every single roster that you see and every single squad that you see, she isn't good enough. Sorry, she is very good, but she isn't good enough to be up there in S tier. Before we get to the last member, guys, I want to go back and I want to adjust my ranking of Killmonger. I've just been thinking about this, and with what he brings in terms of damage output, having access to Wakanda Forever, access to those rerolls from his kill count tokens, the extra 2 power that he can get turn 1 from using Spirit of Wakanda, and he also does have access to the new card that came out in the Usurper's box. I forget the name of it. Let me find it here a second. It's Kelly Luna's Glory, I think it is, which is an extra attack that he gets to make. It's Mystic. It's range 3. It's 7 power. I really, really like him, guys. And you know what? I'm gonna up his ranking. He isn't C tier at all. If I was building a roster, and that's what this is about, the roster that I would build, I'm going to put him, he's not going to go up to S tier, but he would be in every single roster that I put together. That's how much I like him. So he's going to go in A tier. I think he's probably going to go just behind Okoye and Shuri. So yeah, a little bit of a mid-video retcon there, but for me, he's just too good to not include. Okay, on to the last member of the Wakandans then, and it is the Queen of Wakanda, Storm, aka Aurora Monroe. Yes, a lot of people do forget that she's even in the Wakandan leadership. She's not very good. She's not very good at all. She used to have a great leadership that worked really, really well for X-Men. That's kind of been taken away. She can hold a back point, but that's what Okoye does, so you really don't need her. She's a 3-threat. I'm going to be brutally honest, guys. There are much, much better 3-threat options out there to look for that are out of affiliation. You're going to need to take some anyway. We're going to go through a couple. But yeah, I don't think she's any good in Wakanda. So for me, I'm actually going to put her into D tier. That's where she's going to go. I don't think she's worth taking at all. Her damage output is not particularly good. She's got no synergy whatsoever with, the King T'Challa's leadership. And just being brutally honest, as a character, I'm just not a massive fan of her at all. So my list, my rules, you can disagree with me down in the comment section below. But this is what we are looking like for the Wakanda list. Okay, guys, because there aren't many characters in this roster, I wanted to just take a couple of minutes just to pick out 2 characters in particular who I think you should seriously consider bringing with you. Actually, 3 characters I'm going to go through. The first of all, for me, I think should be an auto include in your Wakandan roster, and that is going to be Captain America Sam Wilson. Why do I think that? Well, there's really 3 reasons why I think you should be bringing Sam along. First of all, his shield thrower has a size 2 push on there as well. So again, being able to be leaning into that leadership from T'Challa, it's going to work really, really well. It also has Ricochet, which is nice. He has a charge that costs 2, and he's a long move. There's only a couple of other characters in the game that have that. And the fact that you can feed that extra 2 power into him round 1 means that he's going to be able to get that charge off. However, he also has something else in the form of airlift, meaning that he can bring another character forward with him. So whether it's Killmonger, whether it's T'Challa himself, whoever it may be, being able to get them further up the board, particularly with Killmonger and T'Challa, because then you can use their own power that they've got for either the charge on Killmonger or indeed that pounce from, I think it's bounce, sorry, not pounce, from King T'Challa. Being able to get him up the board, 2 range 2 placements is absolutely huge. He's going to be able to get off a vibranium spear. He's going to be able to pull them towards him. It's going to work really, really well, and it's got really, really good synergy. He's also, no slouch when it comes to his actual damage output himself, where Red Wing Assault is, an attack that's not to be sniffed at. And, he's reasonably okay when it comes to taking a hit with that vibranium shield, but you're always going to have Okoye around, hopefully, who can help you out and keep him alive that little bit longer. But that's going to be my first piece of advice, or first character that I would recommend. The next character is going to be the original Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. Now, why do I think Tony Stark is really good? Well, you've already got a character in the form of Okoye, in the form of Shuri even, who can do those long range pushes. He's going to be able to do that as well. So on a wild, he's going to be able to get that push, but whereas Shuri is of course limited to size 3, Iron Man is going to be able to push any size character away. And it's range 4 as well, so it's really, really nice. Again, you're going to be able to feed 2 power into him. He's going to be able to use that Friday AI round 1, meaning that it's actually a 6 dice attack rather than a 4 dice attack. So increasing the chances to get off the push, increasing the amount of power that he can generate. He's a great alternative back point holder, especially if you're on a B map or something like that. So I think he can work really, really well. And again, he's another 3 threat that you can put in there who is really, really good. Okay, guys, another character who I think has been overlooked somewhat after the changes that were made to her, but it is going to be another queen, but I think she does a lot better in Wakanda than Aurora Monroe does, but it is going to be Medusalath Emequalian Boltagon, aka Medusa. Now, a lot of people overlook Medusa as a character because she had those changes made to her braid bash, but she's still a very, very good character. And an even better character when you can get 2 extra power onto her round 1. She's got a push on her builder. She's got hair flip, so she can make a size 3 throw, which is really, really good. But one of the other reasons I really like her is that Royal Decree. 2 power. She's another allied character within range 2 of this character. Place this character within range 1 of the chosen character, or place the chosen character within range 1 of this character. So it's another way of being able to get either somebody like Okoye up the board and into bodyguard range of some of your other bigger characters, or indeed just getting those bigger characters up the board and then letting them make the most of the extra power that she gets, or that they get from Spirit of Wakanda. So yeah, I would highly recommend taking a look at Medusa. She's got some really, really good synergy with what the Wakandans are doing and can do a really, really good job. She's a 4 threat, so she's up against some stiff competition, but definitely one that I would consider taking a look at. And then rounding it out, guys, I've got you a bonus one, but because I forgot about this guy when I started the video, and I was like, hang on a minute, why on earth am I not talking about this guy? It is, of course, another 2 threat, Mortimer Toynbee, aka Toad. Why is he good? Well, first of all, he's one of the best extract player guys in the game. The fact that he can always interact within range 2, and again giving him an extra 2 power turn 1, meaning that he can use hop turn 1, so he can either move up and pick up an objective and then hop and then move back, or any combination of what it is he needs to do. He also has a push on his tongue lash. It's on a wild, it's only size 2, but it's there, it exists. He's a great character to pick up those objective tokens and essentially just run away with them. But look, scoring points wins games, and you know, doing damage and taking out your opponent off the board is a fun way of winning a game, but actually the way that wins games is scoring VPs, and Toad is a great character to be able to score those VPs with. He's really going to benefit from that extra power generation, and as I mentioned, he's got that tongue lash on there. He's also got Finders Keepers, which can be in a clutch moment a really good way of being able to hand off an extract from one character to another. So yeah, there we go, guys. They are my 4, not 3, but 4 selections for other characters that you can take alongside your Wakandans. And there we go, guys. That is my breakdown. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have any of you managed to get some games in yet with the Wakandans? I think they're a really fun faction. They're not necessarily my play style, but actually I do like the idea of powering up some of those characters and being able to use Wakanda forever and just absolutely destroying a big character that's out there on the board. So maybe there is an attrition play style in there somehow. And having played against the new King T'Challa Black Panther, he is absolutely brutal with the amount of damage that he can do. So definitely keep an eye out for him. Guys, I want to give a big shout out even to all of my Patreons. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you want to become part of our Patreon crew, you can do so from as little as £1 a month. You'll see a link down in the description below. But you don't have to, sign up to Patreon to support the channel. You can do so just by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Almost 40% of you are not subscribed to the channel that watch these videos. So if you could hit that subscription button, it would mean the absolute world. And again, leave a comment down in the comment section below. It's really, really good to see your feedback on these videos. And again, let me know down in the comment section below which one of these affiliations you'd like me to break down next. King T'Challa was picked by our community. I went down and I looked through the last comments, and then I picked 3 out and I put them to a poll on Discord, and it was really close between Sentinels and Wakanda, but Wakanda did just win out, or at least at the time of recording this video it had won out. But let me know in the comment section below. We're going to be doing these every single Friday. So this is going to be a new weekly video that we're doing now just to get through the rest of them. And we've got even more characters coming out. So we are going to be doing an Asgard one once we get details of those characters. Yeah. Comment down below what you would like to see next. Also, make sure you head on over to our Discord. There's over 1,000 people on there now. We are going to be announcing our next MCP tournament that is going to be coming very, very soon. So if you want to be part of that, head on over there and take a look. And it's the best place to get all of your MCP, Shatterpoint, and indeed old world stuff as well. So head on over. There's absolutely no cost in joining up, and it's some great like-minded people on there as well. And as always, guys, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, bye for now.